Hello and welcome to the Enlightened Times podcast. I'm Mark Conlon, and this is going to be the first of many, many podcasts in the future. And I've got a really special guest on today, and a good friend, and his name's Paul Northridge, and he's an author. He's co-founder of Unite Planet. And Paul, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. It really is a pleasure.
Yeah, it took a little bit of going to get this together, but we finally made it. It's been in the making for a few months now, but yeah, so it's good to see you, Paul. And really, I just wanted to invite you on for the first podcast to kick off. So this is the inaugural podcast, first ever for me. You've done many, so perhaps you can teach me a few tricks along the way. Okay. This is going to be all about you, Paul, and your book, your life, your experiences, near-death experience, and just wherever you feel comfortable to go is absolutely fine for this podcast. Right. And it's all about people and their personal experiences as well. So we'll dive right into it anyway, Paul. If you'd just like to tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, or, just a thumbnail sketch to get going, and then we can dive off into different places.
Sure. So I was born in 1972, and I was born with spina bifida. So I was basically a bit of a surprise to my parents, because they don't have in 70s scans. So I was doing gymnastics when I came out of my mum. I was literally had no hip, so my leg was literally over my shoulder.
Wow.
So that's what I was. I was doing the splits when I came out, doing acrobats and stuff like that. And I was basically having a big hole in my spine, size of a two pence piece, and it was just above my bottom. And it was quite a lot of fluid going out. A lot of blood was going out, and so I was at death doors quite early on. Anyway, so major surgery had to happen straight away. So mum and dad said hi, bye, and off I went in to have surgery. And so they sewed the hole up, and then after that happened, hydrocephalus came in. Basically, hydrocephalus is basically fluid on the brain, and or water on the brain. I don't know what it is really, but fluid anyway. And literally, I was not well again. I was literally on death doors again with that. So I was going to do a thing called shunt operation. So it's a metal fixation around the head, a bit like a halo, and able to drain the fluid from that. But anyway, the night before the operation, they basically, my parents wanted to baptize me. My mum's Catholic, so they was going to baptize me. They did that. And going in the car back home, my parents said, I really hope that the baptism works. And miraculously, overnight, my hydrocephalus started to get less and less and less overnight, and my brain didn't swell anymore. So I'm not religious. I'm more spiritual, if I'm honest with you. But something definitely happened that night, I feel.
Right.
And so that's my start of life anyway. So there you go.
Wow. And what a start there, Paul. I mean, that must have been, for your parents, that must have been a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a
difficult.
shock. Yeah. Because my brother is completely fine. He's normal. Normal goes, he's a professional golfer. That kind of thing. So he's a very sporty guy. So opposite to that is me. But I still keep myself active. I'm not. I'm more of a wheelchair user these days. It's just how it goes. I'm 50 now. So it's just part of life. I've accepted that I'm going to be more dependent on things now. It's what it is.
Right. So there's something there that, like you say, about accepting, about being independent, wasn't there, I guess? And just to let the viewers know and the listeners, I have read your book. So I'm quite familiar with some of the areas and what you're telling us there. So,
yeah.
I mean, how was your schooling? Because obviously you know, growing up as a child, with, you know, these challenges you faced, how was school with that? Because that, you know, I can't imagine how that might be.
Yeah, it was challenging because it was a Catholic school,
Right.
And basically there was no other one. No other children were disabled, so I was like the main person to look at, really, because it was quite an obvious disability. The issue was that because of the hole in the back, meant that my right leg was what it is, 90%, 80% paralyzed.
Right.
I can't feel most of my leg, right leg. And that meant that the right leg was not growing as fast as the left leg. It's just one of those factors. And so basically, I had to then have a built-up shoe and also calipers and stuff like that. So it's also got people's attention that way. And so lots of bullying going off. And it wasn't the best time. You know, it's again what it is. You know, I cannot understand why children will bully, because again, they're not happy in their lives, so they will reflect that onto people that they can easily victimize. It's just, again, a fact of life. It's not. I don't think that, you know, they deserve, you know, everything they get for being the bully. I think obviously they've had it tough, and that's the reason why they did what they did. So, you know, I kind of like pass that by a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the bullying sounded difficult from, you know, again, from what I read in your book, and that difficult time growing up. And there's something with the teachers, wasn't there, as well, where you had some connections, or in some cases, not a connection. So, I mean, you know, at playtime, you mentioned in your book that you was quite isolated, wasn't you? You take yourself away.
Yeah, I was more daydreaming kind of a guy, young lad, and so I used to be by myself a lot, and I used to have things like Matchbox cars I used to like, and also a calculator which had a game on it, like a numbers game.
All right.
I could like add up. Well, in my young years, it was like adding 10. So 7 plus 3, 5 plus 5, all those kind of things. And I used to enjoy that numbers game, and it was like a bit of a time to do it in as well. And I used to enjoy that as well. So that was, that's what I used to do.
Wow. So, I mean, how, obviously we mentioned earlier about that must have been quite difficult for your parents as well, because they was from what I read in the book was there was, you know, there's a lot of commitment there to running you around, and you know, you'd get days off school, wouldn't you, to go to hospital, which you enjoyed.
Many times.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was the relationship like with your parents? Was it quite close?
Yeah, very, very good. How it would work was basically that Dad would be the one that would keep me at the bottom, and try to like motivate me that way, because I say, being a kid, I didn't understand it fully, and the weirdest thing is that I didn't understand that I had a disability until really secondary school. I know it's weird to say, but I used to think, you know, why are these kids mocking me walking like this? Because I couldn't see myself. And I didn't see the feel like I was like doing this, you know, movement and all this kind of thing. And I was thinking like, so, you know, I didn't understand that. So, my dad will be the one that will be kicking me at the bottom, and I would be quite a little bit lazy, but I'll still do lots of things. My dad did things like he built scaffolding outside the house, so I can use it for a treadmill, walk up and down in plaster, because I had quite a lot of operations, so I was in plaster a lot, and so to be able to like get my muscles working, used to have a treadmill outside with scaffolding. There's been things like weights. My dad used to like, because my leg was not very good with muscles and stuff like that, so we used to like have a sling with weights in it, and I used to do exercises with it and all sorts of things. So very thinking outside the box kind of guy. And so when the days got a bit tough with my dad, my mum was then the person that would be the shoulder to cry on type thing, and so it worked well, like a good cop, bad cop scenario, really.
Yeah. So your dad was very much then, he's very hands-on then with, trying to motivate you and keep you on the straight and narrow, I guess. Rather than,
definitely.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I think I would be how I am now as in character is like I don't like using the word stubborn. I don't think I am stubborn. I'm more determined. Some people call it stubborn, but I call it determination. So I think I come from that perspective. I've got to be doing things. I've got to be motivated and always doing things. I'm also thinking outside the box, like my dad as well. So I like to think outside the box a lot.
Yeah. So Paul, I mean, with school and that, you mentioned that you weren't really noticing why perhaps the other children were, focusing on you and their point of attention was towards you. So you wasn't at this point, you wasn't aware about, the differences between yourself and the children at that point. So when did that begin to happen, where you noticed, that you different, compared to other children?
It started more like the secondary school. When I started secondary school, that's where it really started to hit me. I think, being young and being unaware, and like I say, not seeing myself walking, because you don't see yourself. And when I was in primary school, I felt like every time I have a summer holiday, it was like an operation going off.
Yeah.
And I thought, as a kid does, I bet all these other kids are doing the same thing as me. You know what I mean? It's just how my brain was working at the time. Anyway, so get to secondary school, and then they've been told the class in July, or when they broke up, they said, "You're going to be a disabled lad. Make him feel welcome, but don't do don't go over mad, whatever." I don't know what they said to them exactly, but anyway, it made them really curious. When I got in on the first day there, it was literally a whole. It felt like I was like Johnny Depp at the court case or something like that.
Yeah,
loads of people there flocking around me. What's your? Tell me what's this? Yeah. And literally, I just broke down in tears. I just couldn't handle it. I was like, whoa, I was just like, that was like a heartbreaking day, really. Unfortunately, it was not the nicest day of first day of school in secondary school. But I broke down in tears because it was quite overwhelming.
Yeah, I was going to say that must have been a very overwhelming experience. Then reporting to school, and then you get that type of reaction or attention. It's quite like you say, quite overwhelming. So I mean, did you make any connections with the teachers? Because I mean, that can be quite important at school. Or was there like a disconnection for you as this school?
Lots of teachers were quite hard to understand and work it out, because I mean, I lost a lot of schooling through operations. I was not good at maths and all sorts of things like that. So I was in remedial classes, which was not again, a lot of bullies were in these classes as well. So it was quite not nice. And then so some teachers were not nice, especially the lady in remedial class. She was not the best teacher. But then there was other good teachers. There was Mr. Archer. He was art teacher, and lovely guy. Played guitar when was doing some artwork. He was playing guitar or showing us what to do. Very, very creative, but easygoing. Like you to be you during the lessons, rather than you could daydream and stuff like that. Use your brain elsewhere. Creative.
Quite an open teacher then, the way he conducts his classes. So that's great. So Paul, can you tell me a little bit about your involvement in music and how that got started?
So I was 11 when I started to play the organ. I became an avid fan of my cousin. My cousin, great guy, again, very spiritual and very, very, very funny, and lovely guy all the way around, really, to watch it. And so he was playing the organ when he was younger, and he still dabbles on music instruments as well. He plays keyboards, guitar, and many things. Anyway, I saw him play the organ, and I thought that's what I want to play, and that was it. It's got the bug from there, and so I've been playing the organ since I was 11, and when I got to college, I started then getting further and further into that, and I started doing grades. I got to grade 8 on the organ, which was not bad, and I got to grade 5 on piano as well. So it helped me to do many things. And then in the future, I've been in bands like yourself, been keyboard playing in a band called Jinx, and two great lady singers, and still keep in contact with each other. Bass guitarist, brilliant bass guitarist, drummer, superb, all very, very good. So we played around many places, London even, so quite a lot of gigs. And then I've also done solo stuff. I've been playing in pubs, clubs. I was doing really well, and lots of stroke clubs as well. People who've had strokes. I've done lots of charity stuff as well for them. Then I became a teacher. I did piano, organ lessons. I was there for 4 years doing that as well. Wow,
so that's quite a prominent area then in your life. And this was earlier on, wasn't it, Paul? In you?
About I mean, I started when I was 11 to play it. So by 20 something, I was definitely thinking, I got to grade 8 already now, and I'm thinking, what did I want to do? I was looking at Thornton's. That was one of my first jobs, and I was there for 4 years as well. So, but during those 4 years, I started to build up my lessons. So evenings I was doing teaching. Daytime I was doing Thornton's, packing chocolates and eating half of them. I used to like that job, to be honest, and I met some great people through Thornton's, and that includes Johnny from Planet. I met Johnny there, and I met a gentleman called Mark Lilly, and he's also a very talented guy. I've been playing keyboards for him as well. Because he's a composer, and he's also wrote a theme tune for Planet, when we do videos. The theme tunes that we've used has been his music. We do a bit of changes every now and again, though, so it's not always Mark's pieces, but we try to make it a bit more, a lot of variation going off in our videos anyway. That's what we try to do.
Oh, so this is a major part then. So was this helpful then for you, in your life, the music? Was that something that, was able for you to, sometimes take you away from, situations, isn't it? Things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, with the organ, I could plug my earphones in and just listen to myself playing over and over, because I used to wind up my family so much with certain pieces of music. I can remember playing Blaze Away. It's a march, Blaze Away, and I used to get same part wrong all the time. So my brother used to think, "Paul, just put your earphones in now. It's enough. Thank you very much." So we'll go find earphones on. And so I used to then practice with my earphones instead. But when once I mastered it, and then it was like cranking it up, and I was playing it, and my family loved it, and playing Christmas songs at obviously Christmas time, it made a nice family feeling as well at Christmas, to play songs for them, and everyone could sing along with me, and which is nice as well. So I've done lots of organ playing at welfares, miners welfare clubs, social clubs, and so used to get all the sing-alongs like Long Way to Tipperary. I've done all that as well.
Really getting the crowd going there, Paul.
Try to.
And the other thing is, I mean, just a connection which we'll get onto later on is your wife is musical as well,
Yes.
which is a big, yeah, and obviously this what you was told about how you'd meet your wife, that's in the book as well, which we'll cover that in a little bit. So, because that's really interesting. Just one thing I would say about the book, for listeners who and viewers who do get the book, it's got some humor in. It's very humorous, I found, as well.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
which was made it and it even, well, not an easier read, but it just adds to your imagination when you're trying to imagine your journey, Paul, really. So that was really good to that humor shown through in the book as well.
I think it's important. I think it's important to have humor because I think again, I think life is 50-50, male, female, black, white, good, bad. You've got to have humor along with the sadness, and that's what it's about, I think.
So, Paul, I just want to get into about the near-death experience you had, and just wondering when that was and what happened and the situation behind that, and just a little bit about that, which you can share with the viewers.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I was 14 when it happened. I was quite an experienced guy in the hospital. I've had by then at 14, I was probably having around about 12 operations, maybe 13. So I was quite well known in the hospital area. So being a 14-year-old, I was flirting with the nurses by that time, and I was, testosterone was going a little bit, So one particular nurse I did like, so I was. So I had given two things before the operation was to happen. I was given a what's it called, a pre-med or something like that. So it made me feel rather drunk. So that was the first thing that went in, and that's where I started to flirt with the nurse even more. And then they gave me a muscle relaxant. So the operation I was going to have was called Verona, and so the Verona is basically where they I've forgotten what the bone is, but basically it's the long bone from the hip to the knee. Tibia.
We're not on anatomy. Yeah.
No, I'm
no
not.
Test there.
No. I think I got an F in biology. So anyway, anyway, so the long bone anyway. So the bone was then to be broken in half, and then 2 pins on both sides of the break, and then on the outside of my leg was a fixator. So it was basically a device that was outside the leg with a key. And so on a daily basis, then once I came home, my dad would then turn the key, and my leg from that break used to go a little bit.
Oh, right.
Further. And so in a short period of time, it was an inch and maybe an inch and a half. My leg grew, so it stretched quite a lot in that time frame. Anyway, so in order to have the fixator put on, they had to give me a muscle relaxant.
Right.
Now, so this relaxant had a major reaction to me. So when I had it in me, something whooshed into my body, and I felt very discomfort, not to the point where I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die, but I felt really not well, and I felt my hands really hurt. So I looked at my hands, and I'm seeing big red hands, swollen.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is weird. And I said to Mr. Newton, my surgeon, because he's prepping himself over there, I said, Mr. Newton, because I'm knowing him very, very well by then.
Yeah.
Mr. Newton, look at this. And he's then turned around from preparing, and I go, and then I see his face oh my God. And then next thing, bam, I'm out. And so it's black. So maybe I passed out or something like that. But anyway, so time becomes not really relevant anymore in this realm. So I don't know how long it was black for, but I'm seeing black in my vision, I guess, whatever it is. And then from then, I'm then coming out of my body, and then I'm seeing myself from an angle. Again, I'm not very good at maths. Again, I've got terrible results in maths. So I'm at an angle like that towards myself. So I'm high up towards the ceiling and looking down. And I'm seeing people panicking around me, as the surgeon and the nurses trying to help me to get myself back into life again. And so then, as I'm looking there, I'm not panicking. I'm very, very calm. That's my body. That's just get my surroundings, get my bearings. And then as I'm doing that, then three beings of light came to me, and that's where they basically gave a lot of love, and I felt like I know them. Hard to describe. They weren't people. They were like beings of light. So that's what I can say. And it was like there's a gentleman called Lloyd Canning, a very good artist.
Oh yes,
and he painted. I think it's called the Eternal Spirit or the Eternal Soul. And that's a painting that when I did, when we did an interview with Lloyd back about 2-3 years ago, maybe more, he basically showed all his paintings out, and then next one, this Eternal Soul and Spirit came out, and I thought, oh my goodness, exactly what I saw when I had this near-death experience. So he basically painted what I saw, so I'll. If I'll give you a link to onto that. So the three beings of light were very, very loving, very, you don't want to see that, Paul. I don't think you can give my name. We're not even names in this realm. I think you don't want to see that. And they're not talking to me, they've got no mouths. It's all telepathic. And I'm saying, yeah, okay, I don't want to go. I don't want to see that anymore. Anyway, I'm not scared, not horrible, not horrified or anything like that. But I just, yeah, okay, fine. So once I agreed, say, yeah, let's go. Off I went, and then momentarily, I'm in this next realm where I'm having all sorts of things going off. Almost like a tour around the place. So I'm seeing other souls having their arrival as well. Other ones that's been there for a bit longer already. Some are getting in a booth that's recharging their own energy back. Maybe they've had a horrible, terrifying experience, and they're getting their energy back. I don't know what it was exactly, but it's some kind of booth. I can see colours going off and all sorts of things going off there. I saw a ball game going off in the, so we're not able to walk or a table like that with there's no legs or anything like that, so so you're able to fly, you're able to go on the ground. It's not really ground, hard to describe. It's not like what we have in the earth. There's no land or anything like that. So what else did I see? Ball games going off, lots of fun there. Then I was invited then to have a life review, and that's where this chance where I could see lots of things going off. That was huge. It's basically seeing past, present, future. I could see my parents in the kitchen at present time, and I could see what their thoughts were. I could see that. I wonder how Paul's going in, because he's having his operation now, and we'll prepare this food for him, because he'll, when he comes out, he will be hungry, and these bacon sandwiches will be, his thing, and all this kind of thing. I could see their brains going up in that way. That was nice. And then I could then see past where I was being bullied, then trying to understand why they was bullying me. I could see their thoughts. And vice versa as well, because when I was bullied, I then thought, enough of this being bullied, I'm going to change it. I'm going to be the bully. And I bullied other ones that were easier to bully from my perspective, because I felt like I was slower in doing things and catching up to people. So I bullied a little bit for a little time, but I could also feel their, like, why is he bullying me? And why is he doing that to me? And I could feel their emotions. So I'm seeing everything from all perspectives in the past. And then I saw also Future, which I didn't understand really until now, well, 40s, 30s, 40s. But yeah, I saw things like Russia being a big part of my life. Like I said, when I came out from it all, I thought it was a bit of a daydream. I mean, not daydream, a real surreal dream that went off. I didn't realize I actually died. So I thought it was just a very vivid dream. Never realized it was predictions of the future, and never realized what Russia was meant to be for me. I saw myself driving. I even saw previous deaths in lives before. I saw almost like a spiral of just death. Just small glimpses of that. One was being impaled with wooden spikes, which was very vivid. That's one I remember the most. But it kind of like gave me the thoughts of when I came to realize it wasn't a proper, real near-death experience. That it was basically saying you do come back, you do get reincarnation going off there. So yeah, the things in the future, I saw future death, and I've got a feeling that if it was the one I saw, that it will be a death in the future where I'll be probably in Russia. I'll probably be in there for that. And I saw two younger ladies than me, which again I'm presuming it's my wife, it's my daughter. Like I think, but it was like an oldish looking guy. And just naturally goes.
Wow, I mean that's quite an experience you had there then, and it sounds like then this, when you was having it, it's like time doesn't exist, or you can be in several places all at once.
Yeah, definitely.
And the life review, I mean that's quite profound, because I know Russia plays a big part from reading the book. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that something that was told to you as well further back with a prediction from someone? I might have that mixed up. A clairvoyant. I might have that.
There was a clairvoyant. There was again, very good guy. He was spot on. Wayne Anthony. I think he lives in Derby still, and he basically said about Russia to me as well, which and he was also. The first things that when I soon sat down, he said, because it was all about my mum really, that I went there because of my mum at the time, because my mum was ill. So I sat down, and it was very dim lights, couldn't see him very well. I don't know. It felt like he was like almost like a spirit there. It was not like him. I don't know. It felt like, hard to say really, but I didn't feel like it's hard to work out who he was almost. And then he's saying, your mum's ill. I'm like, yes. Breast cancer. I'm like,
oh wow.
My mouth dropped. I thought, gosh, he was spot on straight away. As soon as that, he got me straight away, thinking like, wow, he knows his stuff. Yeah, and he did.
And I think that came to fruition, obviously, with your mum. I mean, that was a bit of a testing time, wasn't it? Especially for your dad as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to reiterate as well, your family unit was an integral part of your life, wasn't it? I mean, you had your uncles and stuff. Your family was quite close knit. You had people you looked up to, wasn't it? Like certain uncles and stuff. Is it Uncle Ron? Uncle Ron.
I've got no longer here. My Uncle Roy. Uncle Roy. He again, spiritual guy. It's my cousin Russ, who I played the organ because of him. His dad was also very, very spiritual, and he also had very amazing powers with his hands. He basically could heal people's issues with his hands. He basically, I only had a few goes with him, I think, from my memory. One particular memory I have of him was that he wasn't in the room when I got into the house, into Roy's house. my auntie Stella said, Roy's just getting himself ready, just get yourself sat down. And as Roy then came in, he basically wasn't him. He was not Roy. He was like, what's it called? He meditated or something, but he basically wasn't looking like himself. He was talking in African language. He was not, he was somewhere.
Yeah.
Roy was not, Roy was not there. So, but anyway, as he was doing that, he's shaking his hands above my leg.
Yeah.
And my leg was, after the whole session, it was like suntan red, and no touching of it, just his own energy, talking and shaking his hands above my leg. It was literally sunburnt red.
Wow. And did that, because there was obviously some healing going on there, wasn't there? Because troubles you'd have with your legs, or your leg at that time. Mm-hmm. So, just going back to the near-death experience, then, I mean, that's quite a profound experience. Did that change you? How did that change you in your, physicality of this world, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I basically, when I came back, I mean, the best bit about it, and not the best bit, but one of the best bits about it was that when I was asked, Paul, do you want to, again, they didn't say Paul, but do you want to go back to your body, or do you want to stay here, kind of thing? That was the offer at the time when I was dead, and I was thinking to myself, I'm young still. I'm only 14. And my family is there, and I've still got lots of learning to do. And at the same time, I'm thinking that they're also giving that same guidance as well. It's like we're hearing each other's thoughts. It's not like I'm just thinking it, and then that's it. They can't see what I'm thinking. They can see what I'm thinking, and they're saying like, yes, you're right. We're almost like agreement with each other. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back again. And as I'm thinking all this kind of stuff going off, and I'm seeing, then I see the light. When people say, do you see the light? And I said, yeah, I saw the light. At that point, I'm seeing a light, and it's like almost like a sun evolving, very, very bright, warm, loving light. It's not like can't see, because you don't have eyes in that realm anyway. So that was the choice. So I don't know what the light is. Is there light to go into the next realm, into that bit? I don't know, but So in regards to your question, so when I was coming back, I was then said to Mr. Newton said to my parents, whilst I'm in the hospital bed, and I'm looking at this thing on my leg, and my brother's almost like fainting. Oh my goodness. Put it away. And Mr. Newton says, sorry to my parents, we lost Paul. And there's now a big red sticker on his folder. We won't give it him again, all this kind of stuff. So they said that they had to revive me, and all this kind of stuff. They had to tell them his parents that. So he did tell them that. And so he basically said, yeah, Paul, he did die. So it was a real event. And then, so I still felt, okay, that was a very vivid dream, and normally dreams don't stay with me. They don't just, the next day they're gone. And it's still memories now of this event is still there. So that tells me many things. And also years go by, and I'm 23, 24, and I'm seeing a documentary about near-death experiences. And someone says, yeah, to the body, I was at an angle, beings of light, life review, and then you're like, oh, wow, okay, now I get it. So now it has made a huge impact on my life to know that, yes, it happened to me. And I think it happened for a reason. I think I got pulled out of my body, have that experience to know what life is all about. And there is reasons before to know that as well. And I think, it's helped me to become who I am now, very more spiritual than religious, aware that reincarnation happens. I'm not scared of dying. Don't get me wrong, I'm not, not running towards I'm not scared to die though, because I know I'll just keep coming back anyway. And I've chosen this life, this body, to have these experiences, to learn patience, to learn so many things. But patience is one of them, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that again going forward from what you just talked about there in your life, the near-death experience. I mean, following all that as you know going into early adulthood and into adulthood, in the book you know I got this sense of your need to be independent as well, and you was buying your own house, and you'd had various jobs, hadn't you? You got the chocolate factory, and which also catapulted you into a helping role, didn't it? Was it the job centre, wasn't it? You was helping people find work. Although there was in that, I think there's some things that you bit of a dissatisfaction when you moved on from there, wasn't there? You know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but and I think at that point, there's a real struggle. It felt like, you know, when you explain it in the book, there's this bridge where you had quite a lot of struggles, wasn't there? You know, in the house by yourself, trying to, you know, be independent, and that led you into a bit of a darker time in your life.
Definitely. Obviously I wanted to be by myself, just only because I thought by the year 2000 it had to be something that major for me. I don't know why, it's just not a number, but I just felt to myself, I need to get myself out and about. My brother had already left the nest quite young. My brother left the nest around about 18, 19, really young. And I was, again, very influenced by my brother, very watching how he's developed, and I'm always like admiring that. He's done really well for himself. And so I thought, I want to have my own house too, and so I saved up and managed to then get myself a one-bedroom property. And it was just before before Christmas happened of 2000, the year 1999, it came to 2000. So basically I got the property, and I'm really happy. Got my house decorated for the first time, again, like, this is my house, that's mine, and the house that way. And then basically time goes by, realizing that it's not all that great being by myself. I was single most of the time. I didn't have many girlfriends. I've tried many times, don't get me wrong. I mean, dating was a bit of an issue. I would get lots of like blind dates going off, like newspapers articles, women like saying like, "Hi, I'm Debbie," and this kind of thing. And so I'm like, well, "Hi, Debbie," and I've got a disability, by the way. "Oh, what's it like?" "Well, I can't really describe, but you'll see me when you see me." And they always said, "Yeah, you're a lovely guy. You're just too nice." And I think, okay, so really too nice means you don't like the legs. And so it's a bit of a package. It really is. So it takes a certain kind of character, a lady, to like that, really. So being single most of the time was a bit of an issue for me. And so when I was by myself a lot of the time, I used to then have a few drinks. So by like Friday, I used to have a bottle of wine, thinking like, it's Friday, bottle of wine, finished work, Friday, bottle of wine. And then it became Saturday, then it became Sunday, then we went into like, oh God, it's Monday, oh, drink. So literally it started to like snowball into every day almost drinking, and it was not good. And to the point where I think my health was not good. I was putting a lot more weight on, and basically I had a premonition going off again. So I was sitting in my own room, living room, and then it flashed back to the near-death experience when I had the predictions going up in the future, and it gave me like the feeling like there are roads. Yes, there are certain things set in stone, but yes, there's also a bit of leeway. And so I saw myself, it sounds horrible, but I'll say it, but in my near-death experience, I saw myself being hanged in that previous house, under the stairs, because there's a bit like in the stairs, it's like an open plan place. So the stairs were like open stairs. You can literally tie something between, and you could have done that. And yeah, I think I was getting quite depressed, and drinking a lot didn't help. And literally I was getting towards that side, thinking like life is not great, you know. And I was thinking, you know, let's just, and that moment thinking like, do you remember that vision that you saw in your near-death experience, Paul? Like, this is my conversation going on. Yeah, that's telling you something. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then from that point, I kind of like thought, yeah, this is not the way to go, Paul.
Yeah.
So, and I reduced it slowly, because I thought if I did it like that, it would be not healthy. So I did it gradually, and I don't get me wrong, I will still have a drink, but not to the point now where I'm just completely.
Yeah. So it was very different circumstances, isn't it, to what you're, you know, using, let's say, alcohol now compared to back then.